A live hot topic. You guys ready for the live hot topic? The live hot topic is none other than Mr. Brian Shapiro. Brian, good morning to you.
Good morning, Don. Thanks for having me on.
It's good to have you here. I'm glad that you're safe. The reason that Brian is our hot topic is because he attended the town hall in Las Vegas last night. And also, Brian is, I think, lucky to be here looking the way he looks. Consider that he was mobbed last night by some MAGA folks in the town hall parking lot, correct?
Correct. It was, building. Yeah, right outside. Yep.
Yeah. So, Brian, we're going to get to that because it's crazy. Again, we're glad that you're safe. We're glad that you survived that. I don't know if you were in jeopardy at any moment, but it certainly was heated. So take us behind the scenes of this town hall because you were in the building last night. What was it like? What was the crowd like? What was the vice president like? And did she use a teleprompter as some conspiracy theorists on the right are positing?
Well, let me start with the latter there. Absolutely not. She did not use a teleprompter. In fact, the moderator of that event went on social media and said that was his teleprompter. So they did the same thing in the presidential debate. If you remember, they said that she was wearing earrings with microphones on them, and it's just absolute nonsense. Everything was off the cuff with her. I thought she did a great job. And I showed up about an hour or two before the event, and I saw a good amount of Kamala Harris supporters. I spoke to Congressman Stephen Horsford yesterday before the event, and there were a lot of supporters that were just waiting to get a glimpse of her. This was a private event, though. This was not necessarily public. This was an invite-only event, so there weren't a lot of people in there. Very intimate setting, and I thought she did a great job.
Yeah. Listen, I tell you, I had moderated town halls and debates, and there are teleprompters, and the teleprompters are usually for the hosts or the moderator of the debate. So you have your introduction when it comes on, and then the teleprompter goes blank, unless the producer wants to cue you to something like move to the economy next, right? And then you just look in the prompter as the host or the moderator, and you say, okay, let's talk about the economy. Teleprompter goes blank, right? Unless there's a question that the producer says that you didn't follow up on. If maybe someone said something and you missed it, and they'll say, no, dig in on tariffs, and you'll say, I need to dig in a little more on tariffs here because I don't think you quite answered it. So that's how the teleprompter works. The teleprompter is not for the person who is being interviewed or the person who is the subject of the town hall. It is for the person who is moderating. Perhaps people are not smart enough to understand that, Brian?
There you go. I mean, that's what it is. People believe it. You know, conspiracy theories. I mean, I interviewed somebody on my show a few days ago that spread the conspiracy theory that people still believe, which is she was wearing earrings and people were talking to her through earrings in a debate. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that, maybe not a lot, but in Trump's base, some that believe the nonsense. I look at this as a compliment, right? This is a compliment to Kamala Harris. When the MAGA crowd out there believe that she's being fed answers, that means she did a good job. Right. I mean, so for Kamala Harris, I would take that as a compliment because she did do a good job.
Yeah. I listened to a morning call that does strategy for both Republicans and Democrats. And the folks who were the Republicans on this call, who are usually very tough on Kamala Harris, said, hey, she did a great job. If I was on her team, I would be telling her to do more of these because she comes across as human, and people get to know her. And also her answers they thought were pretty good. Okay, so let's discuss why, Brian. That's one reason why Brian is the live hot topic today. But Brian, I just want to show what happened to you. This was after, right? Right?
Yeah, I did have some interaction with people before as well, which I posted on my social media, but it got really heated afterwards.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a woman, a MAGA woman, getting into Brian's face. Watch closely, everyone. Here it is.
It was called in the last 10 minutes because some people disagree with me. Not you, sir. I appreciate our conversation. I want to continue it. Because they're not capable of having a conversation. I've been called a pedophile.
You did too, though. You did too. You called us all kinds of names.
Here's another one.
You did too. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I've been called a pedophile. You're yelling. Why are you yelling?
Why are you yelling? You yelled too. You yelled too. You said I want to have a decent conversation. That's what you were doing.
Back up.
I don't need to back up. It's a free fucking country.
Actually, you can't be right in my face.
How about that? It's a free country. Assault is when I touch you. That's
no,
an
actually, assault is right here.
That's an assault.
Another lady who doesn't know the laws.
Yeah. So do you.
Have a nice day.
So do you.
Have a nice day. Another very intelligent Trump supporter.
Oh,
have a nice day.
Kamala Harris.
Okay, so Brian, you went out what to talk to them or to interview them? What? Tell us
So
what
yeah,
happened there.
so after the event, I was with my friend and I noticed that there were about maybe 20 to 30 Trump supporters out there, many of them wearing the same shirts. Um, an organizer of the event comes up to me. She was very nice. An organizer, I should say, of the party, the people that were there. I don't know if they were being paid or not. They have their Trump signs, their Trump shirts. She shakes my hand. She gives me her number. And then all of a sudden, they see the media badge that I'm wearing. They say who you're voting for. This is before it was being recorded. And I said, I'm voting for Kamala Harris. I had a lady that spit on me. And then that's when these interactions took place and it got pretty aggressive. And I was over there to talk to people, not to insult people. Now, obviously, if people are extremely ignorant, I'm going to call them out for it. Like if they say Trump won the 2020 election or he's innocent on all charges, he's not a felon, this and that. Sometimes, I'll come back at them and I'll be aggressive, but never will I assault them. Never will I attack somebody that's respectful to me. And my goal was to go out there after the event and interview some people. And instead, it turned into some of this stuff.
Did you ever feel unsafe at all when you were
Absolutely.
there?
100%. In another video that you'll show, I'll explain that a little bit where a guy got right in my face. The good news is that there were some police officers there. So if something bad did happen, there was law enforcement there. But no question, there were some moments yesterday where I said to myself, if I'm going to go to these events again, I need to have a security guard with me because, yeah, no question that went through my mind.
Yeah, it did. That your safety.
Yes.
Because it got heated. I saw one where a man, I think deliberately,
Absolutely.
tried to hit you with a flag. Now,
Yeah.
I hear. Listen, it's a little tough in my earpiece. Did you say she spit on you?
So there was another woman, not the woman in that tape, but as I first got to the venue and I was asked, who are you voting for by a couple people? And I'm not going to lie to them. I said Kamala Harris, and a woman spit on the side of me, on my shoulder, just disgusting. And then that's the moment where I told my friend, start recording this, start recording this. I just wanted to record interviews, but if people are going to assault me, I want it to be all on tape. And that's how it all started.
All right. And Brian, we appreciate you joining us. We know it's early in
Sure.
Vegas. What is it? 7
Yeah.
o'clock there. Yeah. Okay. So let's go. I don't know if this is the same man, but here's the man calling Brian a name, calling you a commie, which the former president does all the time to Kamala Harris. They call her Kamila, or Comrade Kamala, right? Which is saying that she's a communist.
Right.
Here's the man.
Don't you know? You don't even know that.
Yes.
Everything she talks about is communism.
We have an insurrectionist, ladies and gentlemen, walking away. Insurrectionist. Thank you so much. I've never been interviewed by people that. This is interesting. I'm happy to have a respectful conversation with you, sir, if you'd like to. Okay. Well, you just came up to me and got a foot from my face, didn't you? You just got a foot from my face.
Get out of here.
You get out of here. So you want to talk to me, but I can't talk to you?
Listen, I told you, if they're vaccinated, you cannot get through to them. You are vaccinated. You can't help it. Get out of here.
Okay, the weird thing, I mean, because it goes on and it builds, and look, and they come in your face, they come up to your face and like get really close to you. So here's the thing, you're vaccinated, we can't talk to you. Okay, that's misinformation, and it's really odd. I don't understand it. So what was that whole exchange about? And the flag in the face and the commie and your
Yeah, so the guy got into my face a couple times. I'm trying to have a conversation with him. I'm trying to actually have a civil conversation with him. But as soon as he puts the flag in my face, I called him an insurrectionist, right? Then he comes back, gets in my face again. Here's the really interesting part of that video. You'll see a woman in a red dress who's pushing him away with the flag because he was trying to assault me with the flag. That was the organizer. That was the woman who shook my hand. She gave me her number. And she organized that group together. And there were a couple people with her that were trying to push these people away from me because they knew that it was a bad look for the group. But these people are so ignorant. Not only are they not capable of having a conversation, there were a few people there that were. Certainly not that guy with the flag. And he gets in my face. I want to try to talk to him. And my first question would be, why are you supporting Trump? Why are you here today? Because let's keep in mind, they're calling me an agitator, which I wasn't. They're at a Kamala Harris event, decked out in all of their Donald Trump gear, at a Kamala Harris event. Why are they there? Now, they have the right to be there, right? They have the right to be there, no question, but why are they there to begin with? So those are the questions that I wanted to ask him. He would not engage with me. He would call me a commie, and he knows nothing about me. Ask me a question. I would say, why do you think I'm a commie? But, then you have like 4 or 5 or 6 different people that are surrounding me, and you have a guy, I don't know if you saw on a cardboard there, and he wrote down how much eggs are and groceries are. And later on, I said to him, then why is your boy selling watches for $100,000? Why is your boy selling Bibles for $60? Why is he selling gold sneakers? If you're worried about the price of eggs, then why is the guy who you support swindling these things and trying to make money? And, eventually, I didn't really get any direct answers from any of them. Unfortunately, these were people that were just there to agitate, but they don't want to answer any questions. They don't want to talk to the media. They want to attack me for being vaccinated. As Donald Trump would say, most of these people, very low IQ people, in my opinion.
Wow. Wow. I mean, they were very aggressive. And what is the whole vaccination thing? Is that something from the pandemic? Is that a carryover from that they actually believe that you're not smart or that something is wrong with your cognition because you were vaccinated?
Well, make no mistake about it. The anti-right-wing rhetoric during the pandemic is the reason why a lot of people died. There were right-wing radio hosts that were pushing anti-vaccine stuff. Some of them sadly died. This should have never been politicized. I don't know why it was. And because COVID was politicized, a lot of people died that didn't need to die. These are the same people that believe what they hear. If somebody on a Newsmax or a Fox News or a right-wing entity says something that is anti-vaccine and it's medical disinformation, unfortunately, they'll believe it. And they continue to believe it. I mean, they have conspiracy theories. A lot of these people still believe that Democrats started with COVID and Dr. Fauci created COVID. So how can you talk to these people? You can't.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. Also, when you tried to have a conversation with a woman about gun violence, and again, the vaccination thing came up, it's just another odd conversation and confrontation. Here it is.
Tomato, does it really fucking matter?
Okay, you're a very intelligent woman.
I am.
Yes,
I have a bachelor's and I was in law school. What do you got? What do you got? What do you got?
You sound very intelligent.
And I didn't vaccinate. What do you want, your 4th booster? Did you ever realize the vaccines have changed?
When you start swearing at me and you
No,
can't even pronounce your
you
name
can't
right.
even. Oh, that's all you care
Have a nice
about is
day.
names. That's your comeback.
No, I care about you answering my question like I answered
Too
yours.
close. I know how many times you vaccinated.
Okay.
You were
Have a
DNA
nice day,
changed.
ma'am. Have a nice day.
Look at yourself. Look
Have a
at
nice day.
yourself.
Have a nice day,
Do you
ma'am.
really think?
Look at yourself. You're a cult member. Look at you.
Oh, I'm a cult member.
Yeah, look at you.
Oh, because I
Lance
work
Lance
out
is
in a gym and I don't eat
No,
McDonald's.
it's got nothing to do with your body. It's got everything to do with what you're wearing.
Oh,
Yeah.
because I wear
Can we
Trump?
go back to talking about
Because
this?
I wear
That'd be
Trump?
nice. That'd be nice.
See, it's come back because I wear
You're a
Trump, you're a
smart
cult.
person. I
No, I
can't
thought I'm a
conversation with
deplorable
someone.
and a terrorist. Don't interrupt me.
Have a nice day, ma'am.
I'm not, I don't have to be turned away from you.
You're right.
You don't dismiss
You're
me.
right.
You never dismiss me.
Have a nice day,
You
ma'am.
don't get to
Okay.
do the shove.
All right.
You don't even have to turn your back
Have a nice
without
day.
here.
Have a nice day, ma'am.
Why do you have to look away?
Have a nice day, ma'am.
So stupid.
So we are actually trying to have
We were
that
actually
We can
trying
have a
to-
nice conversation.
I asked the
I'm in
question.
charge and I'm
Was
being
I not
told I have to
respectful
take
to
the
you?
group. I'm leaving.
Well, you can take the group, but we're still having a
Thank
conversation.
you. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't call you racist, sir, at all. That was not my woman, and in fact, I defended you. When it was despicable what that woman said about you. And hold on, and I defended you. A woman made fun. Excuse me, wait. A woman made fun of you. She was a Kamala supporter because you couldn't walk. And I told her to stop, and I defended you. I said, we might disagree, but let's be respectful. I defended you. I defended you, and she was not my girl. And she was wrong. What I'm not doing here is I'm trying to have.
Nobody gives a shit. You're
I do.
Have a nice day.
I do. Some of us do want to have civil
Some of
discourse.
us do. So have a nice day. Have a nice
What are you
day.
gonna do when
Have a
Trump
nice
wins?
day.
What are you gonna do when Trump wins? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Are you packing and leaving the country with your local celebrities that lie all the time?
That's not necessary.
You don't care about saving our country? Over messages that you send to women.
So the question is why, And because if you're trying to talk, is there any reasoning with those folks?
None. We know what's really sad about this whole thing, Don? The African American man that was sitting right next to me, he's a Trump supporter. We were having a very good civil conversation, and I give him a lot of credit. He was listening to me. I was listening to him. And later on, they started ganging up on him because he was talking to me. A really nice guy. We exchanged information afterwards. We don't agree on everything, but we were having a really good civil conversation. And then if you see that lady approach me at the end of the video wearing the red shirt, again, we were talking about gun control, and I said, what are your solutions? And she says, what about car accidents? And I said, what does that have to do with gun control? So many of these people are not capable of having intellectual civil conversations. But that one gentleman, the poor guy who was sitting there, nice man who was trying to have a conversation with me, and he couldn't because of these crazies that kept interrupting us. And it's so frustrating, and just a lot of stupidity there, a lot of people that are not capable of having a conversation. And it's unfortunate because I'd rather have a civil conversation with somebody, but impossible.
Well, it's interesting when you're talking about the price of eggs and all of that. And look, people can do what they want, they can buy what they want. But if the guy's going to come with I'm sure the guy who talked about the price of eggs, I'm sure he had on Trump T-shirt,
Sure,
maybe a hat, maybe all of those things, which that kind of adds up. Look, do what you want, but I'm just saying, if you're concerned about the price of eggs, maybe your priority should be on eggs. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. In fact, the last Trump rally that I went to in Vegas, I interviewed a man who had a truck that was decked out in Trump gear on his truck. He was complaining about the economy, and I said, how much did you pay for all this stuff in your truck? He says, $6,000. And I said, so the economy's terrible. You're talking about the price of eggs, but you had no problem spending $6,000 so you could have Trump's picture on your truck. And he didn't say anything, right? I mean, how much money do these people spend for the shirts, the hats, the watches, whatever, the trading cards? These people have no credibility if they want to complain about the economy, yet they're giving all this cash to Donald Trump for Bibles. I mean, but that's who these people are. Did you see all what they were decked out in? And she makes a dumb comment to me because I'm like, you're a cultist, right? And then she makes a comment referring to how she thought I was talking about her body, which obviously I wasn't. I was talking about the clothes that she was wearing. So she didn't even understand the correlation that I was trying to make. And then they complained to police officers about me, by the way. I want to add that. It's only freedom of speech to them if they agree with somebody. But the second they disagree with you on a public sidewalk, the cop came up to me and he started laughing. And he's like, yeah, they complained about you. And I said, what did they complain about? Oh, that you were yelling at them. And I said, first of all, I wasn't. They're the ones that were yelling at me. One of the men, assaulted me. I was spit on by a woman. And second of all, like I said before, freedom of speech only pertains to these people if they agree with it.
Yeah, it's interesting because they're there to protest the vice president. I'm sure, weren't they yelling things at her
Absolutely.
outside? And so they're upset. Even if you had yelled at them, wouldn't you be returning the same energy that so nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
One more. There's another one of you trying to interview them, and I think you had a bit of trouble here, Brian. Here you go.
Hi, can we ask you guys a few questions?
Sure. Go ahead.
Do you support the biggest tax breaks for the rich, the top 1%?
That's including Harris.
Hold on, one at a time. Let me ask her first. No, Donald Trump had the highest.
What are you anyway?
Tax
I
breaks.
don't believe that.
Okay.
What are you? A press?
I'm a member of the press that's asking you questions. Is that okay?
Can you pause it, please?
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Okay, so when you ask them, Brian, and you give them facts when you say he had the biggest tax cuts for the rich, which is a fact, and then they just say, I don't believe that, do they offer any evidence back to the contrary?
None, zero. And, I probably didn't handle this video as good as I could have at the end, and I'll explain after why I said what I said to them. But as soon as I asked the first question, I know exactly the type of people that I am dealing with. Now, even if you don't believe in facts and they don't think Trump gave the tax breaks to the top 1%, as you said, they don't give me any reasons. It's like saying the earth is flat, right? With no science to back that up. So right off the bat, 5 seconds into this, I know exactly what I'm dealing with.
Okay, let's continue for a bit.
Well,
I don't believe what your question's even asking. I
Okay.
believe he taxed more than
more than unbelievable. It's 100% inflation in the grocery store. It's 100%
So would you
gas.
blame?
All the
Okay.
illegals coming in. We can't take it
So
anymore.
inflation
Pause it, please. Inflation is 100% and gas is 100% higher.
I'm sorry. Yeah, what does that mean, Don? 100% inflation. You know, first of all, correct me if I'm wrong, Don. I think inflation is under 3%. Compared to all the other G7 countries, I think we're number one. Correct me
Well,
if I'm
and
wrong.
the evidence that inflation is coming down is that
Right.
what? The Fed's lowered interest rates because they're getting a handle on the inflation. So
Correct. Correct. And it just, again, it's another fact. And it gets worse because I think later here in this video, I asked her, do you blame Joe Biden for inflation all over the world? She says yes. These people have no understanding of cause and effect, the war in the Ukraine, coming out of a pandemic. There are a lot of factors that go into inflation. And again, I think Joe Biden and Kamala Harris can run on their record.
Yeah.
Look at, as you mentioned, the trend downward. These people have no understanding, no sense of reality.
Well, I saw the former President Trump last night at a town hall. By the way, LBC was in the chat. LBC, who's saying that the economy really does suck. LBC, I don't know what your personal finances are, okay? But the economy is better now than it was under Donald Trump. I don't know if Nikki, if you have the former president talking about the Donald Trump saying that he had a good economy when he started, and Obama says, yeah, because it was my economy you inherited.
Right.
It was 17 months of growth, and then you drove it into the ground. And then the pandemic you handled poorly. So Joe Biden had to dig us out of that. And now we're coming back around really from the mistakes of Donald Trump. And his supporters and people have nerve to say, this is a terrible economy under Joe Biden. They have no concept and no idea of the reality here. And you cannot. Did you try to get those facts into these folks' heads as you were talking to them out there?
I tried, but every fact you give them, they just brush it off. That's with many in the MAGA cult. It doesn't matter. I mean, again, when Donald Trump said, and I believe, Don, this is one of the most truthful things that Donald Trump has said maybe in the last 10 years. I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they would still support me. You can't have real intellectual conversations at any value with some of these people. I try to give them facts, but they just won't listen.
Yeah, well, they turn it to something else, right? If you,
Right.
if you give them facts, and they'll turn it to something else. Let's continue on for a bit, and then I'm going to move on from this one because I think there's a very important one that I want to play on where you talk to them about felony charges, but a little bit more of this.
All my friends are losing their jobs.
Gotcha. Inflation is up all over the world. Is that Joe Biden's fault also?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's his fault. For
Gotcha.
letting in all
For all over
the
the world.
illegals
Okay.
and open borders.
As a woman, how do you feel about supporting a sexual abuser?
What is sexual abuse?
Oh,
Proven in a court of law.
Go away.
Proven in a court of law. No, I'm not going to go away. This is freedom of speech. I have the right to stand here just like you do.
Did she have an answer for that?
None.
I mean, believe that he is, but I mean, even though he was found liable in court?
They don't even admit that he's a convicted felon. Now, you can disagree with the outcome of the liable sexual abuse, but that was still an outcome. He's liable for sexual abuse. It'd be one thing if they said, listen, I don't believe E. Jean Carroll. I would disagree with them, but they're not even based in any sort of reality that case even happened, that liable sexual abuse case even happened. I guess if you watch Newsmax all day or you listen to right-wing entities, they're brainwashed. But I don't even think they understand or even know that he's a 34-count felon. That's how ill-informed, that's a nice way of putting it, these people are.
Marlisha Johnson's in the chat and asking Brian, what's your guest's name and how can I follow him? What's his affiliation? What do you say to her?
Oh, I appreciate that. So my name is Brian Shapiro. My YouTube page is @PTL Radio Show. My website is pushingthelimits.live. Again, that's pushingthelimits.live. I'm on the air every day, just like Don, Monday through Friday, 12 to 2. So I go live on the radio here in Vegas, but I'm also live on my YouTube page, on my X. The best way to follow me, pushingthelimits.live, my website.
Brian, let's move on. I want to talk about the 34 felony charges that you spoke to someone about. You were speaking to a man about that, and you said they won't even admit that woman wouldn't even admit that he's liable for sexual abuse. How much more do you need to hear after that?
Yep.
Because last time I checked, Donald Trump was liable. Also, Donald Trump was arrested, arraigned, and bailed out in New York, charged with crimes. I watched it live on television. It did happen. And he admits that it happens. And he says that's why he believes he's relatable to black people, especially black men, is because, he's got some charges and he could be, facing some jail time, which is interesting. So here are you talking to people about his criminal record. Here it is.
Guy has a Trump safety, Kamala crime sign, yet Donald Trump is a 34-count felon. It's very confusing, this sign. Very confusing sign. Trump is a 34-count felon, yet this guy is holding up a sign that says Kamala crime. That makes a lot of sense. It says Trump safety, Kamala crime. Sir, is Donald Trump a 34-count felon?
I doubt it.
What do you mean you doubt it? But a jury decided that he's a 34. Can we agree on that?
No.
So a jury didn't decide.
No.
So who decided then?
Okay, pause.
It's not legal. It's going to be 6
But
Okay.
Don, I don't know what to say. It's unbelievable.
We're going to hear what you had to say, but I'm just wondering. I want to get in a moment. You guys can back up a couple seconds on that, so I'll make sure we get everything. I'm not sure how much is left on this clip, but what he doesn't believe that. It's the same thing that the woman said about the him being liable to sexual assault. I don't believe that. About what was the other thing that you told her about? She said, I don't believe
Inflation, liable sexual abuser, 34-count felon. They're in denial.
Okay,
I don't know.
but that is honestly I gave the signs of a cult. I don't know if that was you on the program that day when I gave people. No, it's actually maybe on social media when I gave people I went down the list from doctors, right, who deal with people, professionals who deal with people like that,
Yeah.
and I gave them all the signs of what a cult is.
Yeah.
These people are exhibiting their behavior. Now listen, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I believe that they have just been co-opted, right? They have been marks. They are marks by a con man, right? So I like to cut them some slack, but still they're ill-informed, and this is the harm that is caused by a cult leader, especially when you consider what happened. And Nikki, give me the soundbite, please, if you can, of the man yesterday who called into Dan Abrams' show and was crying about his dad who had, fallen victim to the cult of MAGA. But go on, and respond, Brian, because it's shocking. They don't believe anything.
They don't. And I'm going to give you a story and a backstory with this guy, okay? So a little bit after this video, there was a Kamala Harris supporter that was mocking this guy because he can't walk. I immediately defended him, and I looked at her and I said, that's not right. Don't do that, because it doesn't matter whether you're on the left or the right. That's inappropriate. I defended this man, and we shook hands towards the latter of the day. He took to social media later last night and was just making offensive and disgusting comments about me. And I said, you know what, dude? I defended you. I was respectful to you. We shook hands, even though we disagree. It's only a matter of time before they'll turn on you. And this guy, listen, I'm not. Look at the way he's dressed. And again, I don't like to profile people, but look at the shirt he's wearing. Calls Donald Trump a legend. He's got the Trump hat, the Trump signs. Tell me that this is not a member of the cult. Tell me this is not a cultist who looks up to Cheeto Jesus, who looks up to this man like he's a god. And, the conversation continues here for a little bit, but you can't get through to these people, and this is just another example.
All right, let's continue on a little bit.
jury decided that he's a 34. Can we agree on that?
No.
So a jury didn't decide.
No.
So who decided then?
It's not legal. It's going to be 6
But
I'm not a lawyer.
I'm not either, but he was found guilty in a court of law.
Yeah, a kangaroo court.
A kangaroo court? What does that mean?
Look it up.
What does a kangaroo court mean? I don't know. Help me understand. So if you're not a lawyer, then why would you say it's not unfair? Okay. So this gentleman is supporting a 34-count felon rapist. He says Trump's safety yet he's the liable sexual abuser. It makes a lot of sense. He says Kamala crime, yet Kamala was a prosecutor.
I support the police.
What's that?
I support the police.
So do I.
I used to be a
So does
cop.
Kamala. She's a former prosecutor. I respect that. Did Trump support the police on January 6th?
I agree with you.
They're hostages and patriots. Okay.
Okay, so was that the vice president's motorcade going by?
The motorcade just arrived at that moment, so that's when I stopped filming and I recorded the motorcade. Yep.
And by the way, the odd thing is that you're saying that you were yelling at them, but what did I hear in the background? They were quiet, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a bunch of nonsense. I mean,
I mean,
I
they
can
were
tell you-
yelling. I was being sarcastic.
Right. I mean, it's a bunch of complete nonsense. I mean, I can tell you right now, the Trump supporters were extremely obnoxious, loud, confrontational, but yet they'll say that I was the agitator. I mean, I thought I was very respectful to that gentleman. In fact, I was respectful to him the entire few hours that I saw him when I was out there. And then he's the one who decided to be disrespectful to me on social media. It's unfortunate. And like I said, I defended him when someone made some inappropriate comments to him. I defended him.
Yeah. So listen, Brian and I spoke last night after this happened, and I got to say, Brian, you were a little rattled. I have to admit, I was a bit worried about you.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, Don. If I go to a Trump rally or quite frankly, any of these rallies, I probably need to have some security.
Yeah.
I've had some people that have just said some untruthful, harsh, horrible things. And listen, I understand you've had to deal with that at times in your career as well. I guess it comes with the territory. Doesn't make it right. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to cover these types of events and you're dealing with these kinds of people, you should probably have security with you.
Yeah. Look, and one of the main reasons that I want to point this out is because when people are co-opted like that, and I believe that they are brainwashed, they start doing things obviously that goes against their own good will and their own self-care.